Have you ever felt completely lost in life, like you're wandering through a maze with no exit? That crushing feeling when nothing makes sense anymore, when every path seems wrong. Here's what most people don't realize. According to Carl Jung, the legendary psychologist, feeling lost isn't actually being lost. It's your soul recalibrating its GPS. What if I told you that your confusion, your restlessness, that nagging sense that something's missing, these aren't signs you're failing at life. They're actually signals from your unconscious mind trying to guide you toward who you're meant to become. This feeling of being lost is actually your inner compass realigning. It's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough waiting to happen. When you feel most confused, that's when your soul is working hardest to show you a new direction. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to decode these signals and turn your confusion into your greatest compass. Stay with me because this changes everything. And if you've ever felt this kind of existential confusion before, drop a comment below with "Recalibrating." Let me know I'm not alone in this journey. Hit subscribe now because what I'm about to share might just be the explanation you've been searching for your entire life. Jung discovered something fascinating about the human mind. He called it individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming your authentic self. It's not some quick weekend transformation. It's the gradual process of integrating all parts of your psyche to become whole. Think of your mind like an iceberg. Your conscious awareness, the thoughts you know you're thinking, that's just the teeny tip above water. But beneath the surface lies this vast unconscious realm containing everything you've ignored, forgotten, or pushed away. When you feel completely lost, when everything seems to be falling apart, that's often your unconscious mind knocking on your door. It's not trying to torture you, it's actually inviting you to grow. Let me make this more concrete. Remember Sarah, a viewer who messaged me last year? She had the perfect corporate job, relationship, apartment, everything society told her meant success. Yet she felt this overwhelming emptiness she couldn't explain. Her dreams became filled with water, drowning, and unknown creatures from the deep. This is exactly what Jung was talking about. Sarah's unconscious was using dream symbols to communicate that her conscious life choices weren't aligned with her deeper self. Those unsettling dreams weren't random. They were her inner navigation system saying, "Recalculating route." Jung believed we all have a shadow, parts of ourselves we've rejected or denied. We also connect with universal patterns he called archetypes, like the hero who faces challenges, or the explorer who seeks new frontiers. When you're feeling lost, it's often these deeper aspects of yourself demanding attention. Joseph Campbell, who studied myths across all cultures, discovered something incredible that builds on Jung's work. He found that every meaningful human journey follows similar patterns. As he put it, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. That feeling of being lost, it's actually standing at the entrance to your cave. I love how Campbell describes it. We're not on a journey to save the world, but to save ourselves. And in doing that, we save the world. Your personal confusion isn't just about you. Resolving it contributes something essential to everyone around you. So next time you're in that fog of confusion, don't fight it. Lean in. Pay attention to those gut feelings, recurring dreams, or random coincidences. They're not trying to break you. They're redesigning your map to something better. I still remember when I felt completely directionless after college. My dreams kept showing me standing on stage speaking, even though my career was headed in a completely different direction. I ignored those signals for years until the pain of misalignment became too great. Those dreams weren't random. They were my unconscious showing me what I was really meant to do. Now, let's talk about how to actually recognize these signals when your soul is trying to recalibrate. Because here's the truth. Your inner guidance system is constantly sending you messages, but most of us have forgotten how to interpret them. Think about it like this. Your unconscious mind doesn't speak English or any verbal language. It communicates through symbols, emotions, patterns, and what Jung called synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that feel like the universe is winking at you. I want to share 3 powerful signals your soul uses to get your attention when you're off course. First, your dreams. These aren't random neural firings, they're messages in symbolic form. When I was stuck in that corporate job I hated, I kept having the same dream of being trapped in an elevator that would only go down, never up. My conscious mind was saying, "But this job has great benefits," while my unconscious was literally showing me I was descending into a place that restricted my movement and growth. One viewer, Michael, shared how he repeatedly dreamed about a childhood home he hadn't thought about in decades. When he finally paid attention, he realized the home represented a time when he felt truly creative and free. Qualities his current life was severely lacking. That dream wasn't random. It was his inner GPS saying, "Return to these coordinates." The second signal is your body's wisdom. Physical symptoms often appear when we're ignoring our soul's direction. Chronic tension, mysterious illnesses, fatigue that no amount of sleep fixes. These aren't just inconveniences. They're your body literally embodying the resistance you feel to your current path. Sarah, whom I mentioned earlier, developed persistent throat problems during her corporate career. Medical tests found nothing wrong. But when she finally acknowledged her deeper desire to teach and speak, activities that require a healthy throat, the symptoms disappeared almost immediately. Her body was physically manifesting the choked words she wasn't expressing. The third signal is synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that feel almost orchestrated. You think about changing careers, and suddenly 3 people mention the exact field you're considering. You randomly open a book to find exactly the passage you needed to read. These aren't just coincidences. They're what Jung called a causal connecting principles, meaningful patterns that your rational mind can't explain. One of the most powerful synchronicities I experienced was repeatedly encountering the number 108 during my period of greatest confusion. I'd wake at 1:08, my grocery bill would be $10.80. I'd randomly be assigned seat 108 on flights. When I finally researched it, I discovered 108 is considered a sacred number in many spiritual traditions, representing wholeness and spiritual completion. It was as if the universe was nudging me toward a more spiritually aligned path. But here's the challenge. We're taught to dismiss these signals. We call dreams just dreams, body wisdom just stress, and synchronicities just coincidences. We've been conditioned to trust only what's logical, measurable, and externally validated. This dismissal is precisely why so many people feel lost. They're receiving guidance but have been trained to ignore it. It's like having a sophisticated GPS system but keeping the volume turned all the way down. The first step in reading these signals is simply acknowledging they exist and matter. Start keeping a dream journal. Notice patterns in your physical symptoms. Pay attention to meaningful coincidences. Don't worry about interpreting everything perfectly at first. Just create the habit of noticing. When you begin honoring these signals, something remarkable happens. They become clearer and more frequent. It's as if your unconscious mind thinks, "Finally, they're listening," and becomes more eager to communicate. Remember that feeling lost isn't a failure of navigation. It's an invitation to develop a more sophisticated understanding of your inner guidance system. The signals were always there. You're just learning a new language, the language of your soul. In the moments when you feel most confused, remind yourself, this isn't random chaos. This is your deeper wisdom, creating space for something new to emerge. The discomfort isn't the problem. It's the solution unfolding. Now that we've explored how to recognize these signals, let's talk about what to actually do with them. This is where transformation truly happens, turning confusion into clarity and direction. I'm going to share practical techniques for embracing this recalibration process, working with your shadow aspects, and responding to your soul's guidance through accessible daily practices. Think of this as the turning point in your journey, where disorientation begins to transform into purpose and growth. I'll guide you through this process step by step, drawing from established psychological frameworks to keep our approach grounded. Let's begin with shadow integration. As Jung emphasized, shadows aren't villains, they're simply the aspects of yourself you've pushed aside. Perhaps it's ambition you buried because it felt threatening, creativity you ignored for practical reasons, or vulnerability you've hidden to appear strong. When these parts remain unacknowledged, they create that persistent feeling of being lost, but when embraced, they become the missing pieces that make you whole. Start with this simple meditation practice. Set aside 10 minutes daily in a quiet space. Close your eyes, focus on your breath, and gently invite those ignored feelings to surface. Don't analyze or judge them, simply observe. Notice what arises without attachment. This creates space for your unconscious to communicate more clearly, gradually transforming discomfort into direction. Complement this with journaling, your personal decoder for the signals we discussed earlier. Each morning, take a few minutes to record any dreams from the night before, notable body sensations, or meaningful coincidences you've experienced. Then ask yourself, what might this be pointing toward? Is there a pattern emerging? For example, if you keep dreaming about being trapped, journal about what aspects of your life feel restrictive right now. This isn't mere venting, it's active listening to your inner guidance system. Over time, patterns will emerge in these entries, revealing paths forward that weren't previously visible to your conscious mind. The emotional journey through this process follows a recognizable arc. Initially, there's often resistance. It's uncomfortable to face what we've been avoiding. Then comes a period of confusion as old certainties dissolve, but new directions haven't yet crystallized. This middle space is what author Martha Beck calls the neutral zone. It feels chaotic, but it's actually fertile ground where new possibilities take root. Consider how this pattern appears throughout human storytelling. In Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey framework, the protagonist must venture into unknown territory and face their deepest fears before discovering treasure. This universal narrative reflects our psychological reality. True navigation requires confronting what we've denied. For instance, in classical mythology, heroes must integrate their shadows to complete their quests. Think of Odysseus confronting his pride, or Psyche facing her doubts. These aren't just entertaining tales. They're psychological maps showing how humans navigate internal recalibration. I've witnessed this process in my own life. After repeatedly dreaming about speaking on stage while my conscious mind insisted on a completely different career path, I began small, volunteering for local speaking opportunities. With each step toward honoring that inner signal, my sense of being lost gradually dissolved, replaced by growing clarity and purpose. As you practice these techniques, you'll likely experience powerful emotional shifts. Initially, there might be waves of resistance or fear as you approach aspects of yourself you've avoided. This often gives way to relief as you release the energy it took to maintain that separation. Finally comes excitement as new possibilities emerge and confusion transforms into momentum. One client described it perfectly. One day I was journaling about this persistent fatigue that wouldn't go away no matter how much I slept. I suddenly realized it was my body saying, "This path is draining you." The next week, I took my first small step toward a career change, and it was like someone plugged me back into a power source. The energy difference was immediate. This transformation isn't instantaneous. It's progressive. Each meditation session, each journal entry, each acknowledgement of a meaningful coincidence builds upon the last, gradually converting doubt into direction. Research supports this approach too. Studies in depth psychology consistently show that integrating previously unconscious material leads to greater psychological wholeness and reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression. When we bring awareness to our internal conflicts rather than projecting them outward, we reclaim the energy that was tied up in that division. So here's your invitation. Tonight, try that 10-minute meditation. Tomorrow morning, journal about one signal you've noticed. Watch how your inner guidance system responds when you begin to listen. This practice creates a feedback loop. The more you acknowledge these signals, the clearer and more frequent they become. As you continue this work, you'll discover that periods of feeling lost aren't failures. They're invitations to a deeper relationship with your authentic self. The confusion that once felt like an obstacle becomes a doorway to greater alignment and purpose. At its heart, this all circles back to our core theme. Confusion is a gift from your soul. It's not chaos. It's creation in disguise, pushing you toward a more authentic path. Like Joseph Campbell said, the cave you fear holds the treasure you seek. When you lean into that discomfort, integrating those shadow parts, you emerge stronger, more aligned. Studies show this kind of inner work reduces anxiety and builds real psychological wholeness. It's backed by depth psychology research, and I've seen it transform lives, including my own. Now, it's your turn. Start small. Grab that journal, note one dream or coincidence this week, and sit for those 10 minutes of meditation. Honor the signals and watch how your inner guidance gets louder, clearer. You're not lost. You're being led. And hey, if this resonated, hit that subscribe button for more psychology insights to keep your soul's compass sharp. I invite you to take one small step today. What's the first signal your soul has been sending that you're now ready to acknowledge? Perhaps it's a recurring dream, a persistent physical symptom, or a coincidence too meaningful to ignore. Share that insight in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to recognize their own inner guidance.